Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I have swatches for you from the That 70's Show collection by Native War Paints. We have 8 polishes to look at today that release August 31st, so in the description box below I will link the Native War Paints site, I will link their Instagram page, and I will link my Instagram page where you can see more swatches of this collection. So we have 8 fall-esque beautiful shimmers to look at today, and let's go ahead and get started. So first we have The Person I Love the Most Is Me, and this is a deep oxblood red with a bright silver shimmer. So here's our first coat of The Person I Love the Most Is Me. This goes on really nice and smooth, very easy to apply, good formula, no running or pooling or staining or anything like that. And this is not one of those reds that if you get it in your cuticles, it's near impossible to get out as well. This is a little bit sheer here on this first coat, so I am going to go in for a second coat. So here's our second coat, and this one does cover completely in 2. You also don't have to worry about brush strokes throughout that shimmer. Nothing in here dries textured, so you will just want that glossy top coat to give it a nice shine, and nothing in here is hard to remove either. So there's 2 coats. Up next we have I Said Good Day, and this is a dusty orange. It is, I guess it's a pumpkin-y fall orange, and it does also have that silver shimmer. Here's our first coat of I Said Good Day. This one has a good formula as well. It is a little bit thinner than the previous formula, but it is still pretty easy to work with if you work in thinner coats. This is pretty opaque here on this first coat, but I am going to go in for a second coat. This one does cover completely in 2 coats for me, but depending on your application, your preference, your visible nail line color, you may need a third coat. This one also dries down dull, so you will want a nice glossy top coat, but just like the last one, nothing dries textured and nothing is hard to remove. So there is 2 coats. Up next we have Foreman's Basement, and this is a murky green and it has a gold shimmer. So here's our first coat of Foreman's Basement. This is pretty sheer here on this first coat. It is a jelly, so it is going to have to be built up, but it does have a good formula, no running or pooling or staining on this one either. The shimmer in here and those tiny little shimmer particles that are kind of scattered actually stand out really surprisingly well against the super light jelly base. So this one is starting to build up in 2 coats, but it's not completely opaque, so I am going to go in for a third. This is one that you probably won't get opaque in 3 coats because my nail line isn't like super prominent and I still had visible nail line on 3. But again, this one is going to dry down dull, so you will want a nice glossy top coat, but nothing in here is going to dry textured, nothing in here is going to be hard to remove. This is a nice slimy looking manicure though. It is as gross as that sounds, but it is perfect for Halloween. So there's 3 coats. Up next we have Hello Wisconsin, and this is a teal blue with a green shimmer. Here's our first coat of Hello Wisconsin. This one has a good formula, not too thick, not too thin, no running or pooling or staining on this one either. Very easy to work with and pretty opaque here on this first coat. I did do 2 coats for this one, but it's right there on the edge of needing a third coat. So depending on your application preference and visible nail line, you may need a third coat of this, but I'm happy in 2. And just like the rest of them, it dries dull, so you will want a glossy top coat, but it doesn't dry textured and it's not going to be hard to remove. So there's 2 coats. Up next we have Bern, and this is a deep dark denim blue, and it does have a purple shimmer, and it looks like a scattering of maybe a microflick or a scattering of a holographic, but from the cluster up here I would assume it's those silver platinum flakes. So here's our first coat of Bern. This one covers really well here on this first coat. I can make out my nail line though, so I am going to go in for a second coat. My brush on this one is a tiny bit wonky, so I am having a little bit of a trouble with like getting a super clean application, but I think, you know, that's not a super common thing with Native War paints. But this does cover completely in 2 coats. You don't have to worry about brush strokes through that shimmer. You will need a glossy top coat because it dries down dull, but it doesn't dry down textured, and nothing in here is hard to remove. So there's 2 coats. Up next we have Hot Donna, and this is a dusty rose pink, and it does have a tealy looking shimmer. Here's our first coat of Hot Donna. This is very smooth here on this first coat. It is pretty sheer though, so I am going to go ahead and build it up. But a good formula, not too thick or too thin, no running or pulling, and you don't have to worry about brush strokes through that shimmer. And I'm so sorry, I'm completely out of focus here. So here's our second coat, and this does cover completely in 2 coats for me, but this is another one that, depending on your application, could be a 2 or 3 coater. Once again, it dries down dull, so you will want a nice glossy top coat, but nothing in here is hard to remove and nothing in here dries textured. So there's 2 coats. Up next we have Hyde, and this is a putty shade with a blue shimmer, and it looks like a gold micro flake or a gold scattered glitter of some sort. Here's our first coat of Hyde. This is pretty sheer here on this first coat. It is another one that you're going to have to build up with 2 or 3 coats, but this one also has a good formula. It's a little bit on the thicker side, but it's that thickness where it stays right where you put it. There's no running or pulling. So here's our second coat, and this one's starting to build up for me in 2 coats, but I am going to go in for a 3rd coat. But depending on how thick you do your coats, 2 might be just fine for you. I'm just being a little extra picky on this one. So here's our 3rd coat, and this does cover completely in 3. It also dries down dull just like everything else has so far, but this one also has a slight texture to it, so a nice glossy top coat will help smooth that out, but this one wasn't particularly hard to remove either. So there is 3 coats. And lastly for today we have Vista Cruiser, and this is a light nutty brown shade. It does have that same gold element that the previous polish had. I believe they're like those silver platinum flakes but in a gold, and then this one is also a linear hollow. And here's our first coat of Vista Cruiser. This one goes on nice and smooth, easy to work with, no running or pulling or staining here either. This one is just a little bit sheer here on this first coat, so you are going to have to build it up. I did reach full opacity in 2 coats, but depending on, again, your application, this one might require a 3rd for you. This one also will dry with a slight texture, so you will want a nice glossy top coat for this one. And it does require a little bit of scrubbing to get all of the glitters off. So there's 2 coats. I have 3 favorites here. The first one being I Said Good Day. This is an orange that I really look forward to in the fall time. Flattering orange on every skin tone. This one is really good. The next one is Foreman's Basement. This isn't one that you're going to be able to build up to complete opacity unless you want to do 4 or 5 coats of it. But it looks so beautiful and slimy on the nails. It kind of really gets you ready for Halloween time, and I really like that about that. And then the last one being Vista Cruiser. This one is just beautiful and flattering on me. It's one of those that kind of makes me look ready for fall, if that makes any sense. So these are my 3 favorites of the collection. And that is it. Let me know in the comments below what you guys thought of this collection. Let me know if you plan on picking any of them up, and let me know what your favorite was. Give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, subscribe if you'd like to see more from me, and I will talk to you again next time.